Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of PractiTest Labs. As you know, this series of webinars is here to bring to you some of the best functionalities and methodologies that we have in PractiTest that can maybe help you make a better use of the tool. So this episode is going to be about automation, managing automation with PractiTest. The session will be around 35 minutes, which will be followed by Q&A. Chris and Antony are going to discuss a forum, in our forum, a little chat that will be dedicated to this webinar. So you can continue asking your questions and chat about the session over there as well, but they are going to talk about that later on. So Antony, Chris, are you here with me?
Hi, yes, we're here. Firstly, Rachel, thank you for your introduction. And this is our second session on PractiTest Labs. And we wanted to talk about managing automation with PractiTest today. And many say that automation is the future of QA testing. Where does manual testing remain in the future? And also, how will automation affect you, and will it be usable in PractiTest as well? So let me initially throw out that question to you, Chris. Where do you see PractiTest in the future? Do you see us being able to support automation, or do you see PractiTest as being just purely a manual testing platform, and anything involving automation is sort of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole?
This is a very interesting and important question nowadays, because we understand that PractiTest was initially developed for manual testing purposes, but now we see more and more customers who would like to see results of their automated testing in PractiTest as well. And moreover, we see and we treat PractiTest as a centralized place of your testing process. So it means that our future, the future of PractiTest, is to be able to get all the information from other automation tools, and then to show these results to our users. So without having this integration with automated framework, we can't really go forward. We need to make PractiTest to be able to be manual testing tool plus the hub of your results, including automated testing, including mobile testing, including other types of testing, so that users will be able to see the full picture in one place. By the way, wanted to ask guys if you can see our screen. So in case someone can't see it for some reason, please just drop us a line and we will handle that. But we hope that everything is visible at the moment. So the short answer to Antony's question will be yes. PractiTest, the future of PractiTest is manual plus automation plus integration with automation.
Okay, thanks, Chris. And I think that just looking at the way that we use the dashboards is a very powerful reporting method that you can see on dashboards very clearly in a matter of seconds the status of your testing. And being able to bring that sort of information from automated tools into PractiTest is a great thing, because as far as I know, many automated tools don't really have a powerful reporting engine and dashboards which you can show you clearly what's going on. And for that reason, I think that PractiTest could become a hub rather than other tools becoming the hub of your testing process. So that many people say, yes, automation is going to be something which is going to take over testing completely. I think those who actually know about testing will always say that even with automation, firstly, there are certain tests which are not suitable to be automated. And secondly, even if you have 100% automation, you still need to be able to validate those automation tests. and the automation tests need to be validated manually. So once you're using something like PractiTest, which is a manual tool and produces such good reporting, I think it makes sense to bring in your automated results into PractiTest and to be able to demonstrate them alongside your manual testing as well, and to be able to contrast your automated tests with your manual tests to see the results of both, and to be able to show this holistic picture where everything is visible.
Exactly. And when we are talking about these great dashboard graphs and reports, we are talking actually about customization, because PractiTest allows to customize your dashboard graphs and reports in many ways. So you don't have the ability like to, okay, you can create only this and this graph and that's it. No, we think that users should decide what graphs they need, and according to their needs, they can customize their dashboard graphs and reports, and to produce graphs that will show results as exactly as you're saying, the holistic picture of your entire development and deployment processes. And here, Antony, you can also show, like, as our users can see our screen, this is our home page, this is our dashboard, and you can see different graphs showing results of manual and automated testing. Antony, would you like to talk about some graphs to explain what they show?
Okay, so what we've done here is we've just produced a selection of graphs to show, for example, we've got our execution types on the first graph on the left-hand side. And we've got API tests, xBot tests, and manual tests all happening at the same time. And we're able to show on the graph the run statuses of all of them. Our second one shows the step statuses. And this is probably more applicable to manual testing, because quite often a step status graph on an automated test will only have one step anyway. But if you want to be able to see your reliability of your product, even if tests are failing, sometimes most of the steps are passing. So this can give you a more true picture of the actual state of your testing process, rather than just showing the main tests itself. And then finally, we have the test by run status, which could be a mixture of automation or manual, depending on the filters that you set. And I think an important point to make here is that anything which you have in a custom field, which is a list type field, can be plotted onto the graph. And as we're going to talk about later on during this presentation and discussion, that when we bring in information from automated tests, if you have custom fields in your automated testing, those could also be brought in. And as long as they're plotted into a list type field in PractiTest, they can then be displayed also on these graphs. So you can have combinations of anything which can be in a custom field mixed with run statuses, certain system fields as well. They can all be plotted on your graphs.
Exactly. And now if we are getting back to the integration with automated tools, we can actually say that PractiTest allows different ways how to integrate it with your automation framework, because we provide different solutions depending on the automation framework you're using. The first solution that
can I just jump in a second?
Just Antony wants to ask me many questions today.
I've just raised my hand, so I'm going to jump in with a quick Q&A.
And guys, of course, go ahead and ask us your questions as well.
So automation also seems to be a combination quite often of large amounts of scripting or writing code. And the question which I wanted to ask is, do our integrations support people who don't use code, or do they only support people who are coders and able to write the code?
Okay, this is a very good question, because when we start talking to potential customers or existing customers, and they're asking, Christine or Antony, we are not coders, we don't have any development background, can we still integrate our automation framework? Maybe they're using codeless automation framework and they want to integrate it with PractiTest, and they're asking if we can still do that without any development skills. So the answer is yes, you can do that. Some options still require really like not advanced development skills, and almost every user can still do that. And again, it's not rocket science, it's very intuitive process. So almost every user, even without development skills, can configure the integration between PractiTest and his automation framework. Of course, if we are talking about users who have development skills and they want to configure a special integration that will meet their needs, so of course they can do that as well, because we provide the REST API, open API, that allows to configure flexible integrations between any tool you wish and PractiTest. So here the short answer again will be yes, you shouldn't be coder, you can use PractiTest for configuring integration with your automation tools. And of course, in a few minutes, we will show you how to do that.
Okay, Christine. So I think at this point, we've talked a bit about the background. Maybe now we should go into the actual options that we do have available. Can we start with something, in my deference, which has relatively limited code, something which can be done by people who can't code and want something which is pretty much off the shelf that they can set up very easily?
Of course. The first solution will be Firecracker. This is our solution that we developed in-house, and the Firecracker solution allows to upload results of any continuous integration, continuous delivery tool into PractiTest. What does it mean? Nowadays, we know that most customers, they're running automated tests. It can be Selenium test cases, it can be other test cases that they will run via a dedicated CI/CD tool. So in this case, in case you have CI/CD tool producing XML surefire report, you can use the UI Firecracker mode that allows to upload results from this XML surefire report into PractiTest and to manage your entire process in one place. So let me show you a really short overview. We won't go down into details, into specific parameters. I will just show you how it works. So if we are going to Firecracker, again, of course, you can find a dedicated help page about Firecracker on our website. All the solutions that we will review on our workshop today are available in our help center. So it's not hidden information that we will review only today and that's it. No, you can always go to our help center and to find this information there. So first of all, we are entering Firecracker. This is how it looks. Now it asks us to upload XML files into it for analyzing them. What does it mean? That, for example, every build, every commit, you have new XML report files from your CI/CD tool. What you're doing next, you're just going to Firecracker, and this configuration part should be done only once. Please know that you don't need to do that again and again. It's only once you're doing that. We are going to here, we press here, and for example, I downloaded my XML report file from CI/CD tool and then it here. And now we can see here the visibility of my report file. It means that in my report, we have 2 test cases with several steps. Now, what should be done next? Here, by default, you won't be able to see API token. I've already put API token into this section, but please remember how to retrieve API tokens. We all remember that we need to go actually to PractiTest, to settings, account settings, and then we are going to API tokens, and then we show API tokens and we generate API tokens there. Now, if we go back to Firecracker, you can see that I already put the API token. Here we are getting all the projects list that we can select only one project where to send results of our CI/CD tool into PractiTest. To what project? So here I selected our PractiTest Labs 2 project, and here you can see the mapping section that allows you to actually map your custom fields. For example, let's presume in my test cases, I have package name custom field. Why? Because my automated test cases, as they usually do, they have the package name custom field. So I want to see these package name field in PractiTest as well, and to see values of my automated tests in PractiTest as well. So how to do that? First of all, the field that you can see here, test column package name, this is the field I created in PractiTest. So first of all, you need to think about fields you would like to see in PractiTest. Go to PractiTest settings fields and create relevant fields. And then when you are setting up this configuration, you can map test package name with package name field from your XML file. And now here you can see the configuration result file. So actually what we need to do, we need to download this configuration. The configuration file is very important because it includes the API token, it includes your email. How does Firecracker know my email address? Because the Firecracker UI mode requires to sign in. So it takes my email from my login process, then project ID, the project that we selected, and then custom fields mapping. So now we downloading the configuration file, enter one parent folder. Just let's save it here. And now I will explain you what does it mean parent folder and how to use it. So basically, after you downloaded the configuration result, you need to build one parent folder in your machine where you are supposed to get results from your CI/CD tool. So here I created PT main folder here, and this folder should include only three things. The first thing will be PractiTest Firecracker standalone jar file. This file you need to download from the help page dedicated to Firecracker. Then the downloaded configuration file, the configuration that we downloaded, we need to put it into here. This is my old configuration that I need to put to trash. And here I'm just renaming the configuration file. It's up to you what name to give it. Just a second, config here. Okay. And then XML reports, it should be, this is also important, it should be subfolder. Why? Because this is how Firecracker works. It should get subfolder with results of your CI/CD tool. So it means that now we have all these things together, and now we need to run. We didn't send results yet to PractiTest, so we need to run one command from command line, from terminal, from any command line tool that you are using. And this way, the results will be sent to PractiTest. So what we are doing, for example, in my case, I'm opening terminal. And here you need to navigate to the PT folder, to our main folder, and then you will need to run the command that is specified here. Also, it's specified here as step 3. It's also specified in our help page, so you will know what command to run. So we are going back to terminal, and I ran this command again. We will just change a few parameters here, and we will run it. So our results will be sent to PractiTest. So here you can see it takes a few seconds. It depends on the number of files you're sending. So then we can see that the process is completed. And what happens? What happened now? Okay, how did we send results to PractiTest? How PractiTest knows what should be created in PractiTest? It's very intuitive and straightforward process. If we are going to our project in PractiTest here, and if we are going to our test library, here you will see that we created 2 test cases, but it's not we created, Firecracker created them. Why? Because when we uploaded the XML file, we've seen that the XML file includes 2 test cases. So 2 test cases were created here. And in addition to that, if we are going to test sets and runs, we created only 1 test set. Why? Because by default, for 1 XML file, for 1 upload, it will be created 1 test set. Why is it called PT? Because when we are running this command, we are giving it a name. Here you can see test set name equals PT. And then, for example, let's presume, okay, we are entering this test set. Here we got results of our automated test cases. In addition to that, if we are entering test runs themselves, here you can see that we got steps information as well listed here. So now let's presume you got a new build and you got new result files. So what should happen? So in this case, you need to run this command again, but of course it doesn't look logic to run this again and again manually, like as we did right now. So what should be done? So you need to create a short script that will, first of all, this is like the only small part that requires some development skills. So the script should, first of all, download new report files from your CI/CD tool in case there are new report files, enter XML_reports folder, remove the old files, and then to run this command again. How to do that? In case, for example, okay, PractiTest ran this command again, okay, we ran it. But now what should be done in here in test library and in test sets and runs? Basically, if we are going to test sets, to test library here, to our test cases, you can see that if we will run the same command again, so in case the test cases are residing already here in the test library, we won't get duplicates. This is the logic behind Firecracker, because it knows, okay, in case I have the same test case name, I shouldn't create its duplicate. I should just create a new test run for this test case. So this way, Firecracker eliminates the possibility of duplicate test cases. In addition to that, in case you already created PT tests and you're sending again the same command with the same test set name, Firecracker won't create duplicate of PT test set, it will just update it. This is the advantage of Firecracker, that you won't get many redundant test cases, test sets, test instances, and runs. So then the last thing that I wanted to show you here, that before, of course, Antony will ask me a lot of questions. So here, let's presume that at some point you changed your test cases in your CI/CD tool, and your previous configuration is not relevant anymore. Maybe you added a new custom fields, system fields, etc. to your CI/CD tool. So what should be done? You can always go back to Firecracker here to upload existing configuration file, then to modify it, and then to just download the updated configuration file and to use it for your comments.
Okay, thank you, Christine. One point which was worrying me was that supposing you don't have a Surefire XML file, are there any ways of doing a conversion, or with other tools which don't by default produce a Surefire file, are there ways of getting it to be Surefire?
Yes, we've got this question a few weeks ago from a customer who is using another tool, and by default, this tool doesn't produce any Surefire XML reports. It does, it produces XML reports, but not Surefire reports. So what to do in this case? And the customer really wanted to use Firecracker because it's so intuitive and it doesn't require a lot of development skills. So we've made research here and found out that actually you can just configure just report configuration in your tool. Let me just show you a screenshot that customer sent to me. Just a second, let's go to here. This is a screenshot. So here basically customers in many cases, they can use for example, Maven plugin that will make this work, that will create XML Surefire report, or you can also have this option that you can see on our screen, that you can go to your tool, you can go to the report section in your tool, and then by default, you may have export results to a JUnit style report and other checkboxes unchecked, but then you need to have them checked, and then this way you will get XML reports in proper format that Firecracker will be able to tag. It's very important here to understand that Firecracker can take only XML Surefire report files. So in case you may think that, okay, I got some XML file, please make sure that this is Surefire report file. You can just try to upload it and to see it's parsing here. And in any case, you can always, of course, contact us and we will be able to help you with research in case your tool doesn't support this option. In any case, we will be able to help you with adjusting your file to be able to be taken by Firecracker. And again, the bottom line here that the Firecracker as a solution, the Firecracker UI mode was developed specifically for results files taken from CI/CD tools.
Okay, that was really clear. Thanks, Christine. Let's move on to talk about a couple of other integrations that are available.
Yes, sure. The next option would be the Eggplant functional integration. So maybe some of you know already that we provide a built-in integration between PractiTest and Eggplant functional. So before I will show you a short overview of this integration, I wanted to mention that Eggplant as a company, they have different products. And maybe again, as you know, that there are other products as Eggplant AI. This is their AI engine. Eggplant Performance, the product for performance automated tasks, and Eggplant Functional. This is the product for automated functional tasks, and we provide a built-in integration for this product. So what does the integration do for our customers? So in case you're using Eggplant Functional, you can initiate execution of your Eggplant automated test cases from PractiTest. And now let's go to PractiTest, to test sets and runs. And here, if we are entering, let's go back to the project dedicated for Eggplant. So here, basically, once you're configuring the integration with Eggplant, if you're going to the test library, in your test cases, you will see a new automation section. So your test case, this test case will be connected to your automated Eggplant functional tests that will be running on Eggplant Functional. Then, if we are going to test sets and runs, and for example, we created a test set dedicated for Eggplant functional test cases here. So here you can also see the lightning icon within the run button. Why? Because this is not manual test anymore. This is Eggplant test case, and it will be run on Eggplant functional. So what happens next? In order to start initiation of this automated test case, you just need to enter this test and press Save and Run Now. Once you press Save and Run Now, the initiation of this test will happen, and execution of this test case won't be manual. It won't be automatically performed in Eggplant Functional. And then if you refresh the page and if you're entering a test run, all the test runs you will get for these test cases will be automated. You won't run this test manual, and here you will see the detailed information about execution of this test case. So here, what we can see on this screen, we can see that our test case unfortunately got failed. Okay, it happens. And here you can see execution output, the output of the execution itself, log information as well. And here, not all the tools provide this possibility at all, screenshot information, because you can actually, in PractiTest, you don't need even license to Eggplant Functional. You can see in PractiTest screenshots that were taken from the execution of this test case. So this integration allows you to get detailed information about execution of your test cases in PractiTest. And of course, some customers ask, okay, when are we going to see other integration with other Eggplant products? So this is the question that we will answer in case, like it depends on customer demand in this case. In case we see many customers, potential customers who would like to configure the integration, to use the integration with Eggplant AI or Eggplant Performance, so of course we will develop these integrations. It's a matter of customer demand. So this is in a nutshell about the Eggplant plus PractiTest integration.
Okay, so similar to that, Eggplant is something which you fire off the runs from within PractiTest. We also have another method of firing tests from within PractiTest, which is, again, a custom tool which we have of our own, like Firecracker, built by our own developers, which is called xBot.
Exactly. xBot, this is our solution developed in-house, and xBot allows, at the moment, it allows to start initiation of execution of your automated scripts. It's very important to understand that at the moment xBot can initiate this execution of only automated scripts that residing physically on your machine, and then it sends results back to PractiTest. So in general, if we are entering, for example, if we are going back to our project dedicated for that here, so here, in case you enabled xBot for your project, if we're entering some test, you will see the automation section, a similar section for that we've seen in Eggplant functional integration, but another one, different one, with information that you can also connect your automated script with this equivalent of your script with this test case. So this test won't be run manually, it will be run automatically, and then you will see results of this test in PractiTest. And many customers who already tried to use and who are using xBot at the moment, they're asking, what's the future of xBot? Do you plan to implement improvements to the PractiTest xBot integration? So the answer, again, the short answer is yes. We are currently working on improving xBot, and moreover, the PractiTest product agenda for this year, it's improving more and more integration with automation tools and implementing new integrations that don't exist at the moment. So we are already in the process of development of xBot improvements phase 1, and we really hope that customers will be able to get these at least first stage of improvements very shortly. So the last point, I think, Antony, we can go to talk about API.
Yes, and I believe we had to, I'm going out of order here, but we actually have a question from somebody, from Yusuf, who mentions that we talked about using uploading an XML through Firecracker, but he wants to know if we can use the API to take stuff from the CI/CD pipeline, which I think is after the test run, which I think is just about what you're going to discuss now.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I said at the beginning of our workshop, that in case you are an advanced user and you have development skills and you would like to develop something in addition to the existing options that we provide, of course, you can use our open API. You can go to our help center, to our API documentation, and here you can see all the possible actions available via the REST API. So here you can, again, in case you would like to send more custom fields values, or to create test cases, test sets differently than you've seen in Firecracker UI mode, of course, you can use the Open API to do that. And in addition, it's not only about a scope of CI/CD tools integrations. No, we've seen many use cases when customers develop something that, for example, doesn't exist at the moment, but we do allow to do that via the REST API. For example, a classic use case when a customer, potential customer, is going to our website and he doesn't see a built-in integration, let's say with Monday.com or Clubhouse, some tool. And then he still wants to have this integration. So we don't say, no, we don't provide it, so you can't configure your integration, you can't develop anything, that's it. No, on the contrary, we say that you can go to our API documentation to see all the requests available from our side, from the PractiTest side, to see Clubhouse Open API, Monday Comma API, and then to connect these two systems by using the REST API.
And I think that using the REST API actually allows people to do whatever their capabilities allow and whatever their imagination allows as well. I think really with the REST API, the sky's the limit as to what you can do. You can build a huge automation network that at the touch of a button can do all sorts of things.
Of course, because again, when we develop something in the application, we look at customers' requests, and maybe, okay, 1% of customers want to do this, but we won't implement this because it's not logical to implement something that 90% won't use, but
and it's very specialized.
Block.
It's very specialized as well.
Exactly. Depends on industry. Maybe you're coming from the healthcare domain and you need to develop something specific for your use case, and you can find this in the API, and you can develop it yourself.
And from what I've been told by our users, our customers, the API is a very, in quotes, friendly API to use, that is very logical to use and gives very easy results to somebody who has a little bit of coding experience. It's something which they could create something in a relatively short time with and be able to use quite quickly. Of
course, because our API v2 documentation and API itself was developed according to JSON API standards, so it's not something unusual. It's really standard. We've used, and we will be using best practices in this area, so that users, in case you used, I don't know, let's say Zoom's API, and then you go to PractiTest API. So the API are similar with regards to requests, with regards to structure of this request. Why? Because we're using best practices.
Right. And I think I could speak as well that we put priority on updating API requests and development of the API as well. Because as you said, something which is very specialized, and if somebody asks for a very specialized request, that's something which is difficult to do, especially if it's only one customer small customer who will ever use it. But if somebody asks for an API improvement, and we have a very wide API already, but if somebody asks for API improvements, then we look on those very favorably, I believe.
Exactly.
As well.
At the moment, we are working on improvements of our API capabilities. So of course, we're in the constant process of improving that. So in case we see enough customer demand to implement something, so of course we will implement it.
Okay.
Should we go to the
thank you, Christine. I have been watching the Q&A a little bit.
Yeah,
and
it seems to be busy today.
Yeah, it's been reasonably good. I just wondered, we got one question on the chat about when you use Firecracker and you upload your XML file, is the execution time which appears in PractiTest from the upload, is that the execution time from the CI/CD tool or the time it was uploaded into PractiTest?
At the moment, how the first version of Firecracker UI mode was developed, it will be the time when you're sending result of your execution. Maybe you executed your test cases a few hours ago, but still, the time of run that you will get in PractiTest, of course, we can go right now to our test sets and runs here, and let's go to our test set, and here you can see last run information here, and
now our time.
Exactly. But again, we are not saying that we can't modify that. Again, it depends. At the moment, also I didn't mention that the Firecracker UI mode, at the moment, we are gathering information from customers in order to understand what functionality is missing according to their use case, so we will be able to improve it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that we're in still a beta phase for the Firecracker.
Exactly, because why it's in a beta phase? Because it's very complex solution, because we have many use cases, how customers use their CI/CD tools, how they create test cases. One customer can provide you with this use case, and another one can provide you with a different, completely different use case. And in this case, our mission together, customer feedback, to understand what is important to be implemented first of all, and then to set priorities to these tasks and to implement them.
Right. Yeah, so with regard to the Firecracker, I heard also people mentioning that even though the Firecracker is a manual process, you can put in scripts that will get it to automatically put it into the right place and then upload it automatically, run a cron job, for example, to get it to run in PractiTest, which would limit the significance of the time differential anyway. So that if you're running an automation, as soon as the report generates itself, you can have something which picks it up, the fact that it's generated.
So the difference will be really
a matter of a minute or 2 minutes. And so it won't be a significant change.
True.
But if, as Christine said, if we do have requests, because this is in the beta phase, we'll look favourably on any requests to change functionalities with regard to it, if it seems to be a sensible change to make. Okay, any other questions?
And again, of course, we won't be able to answer to all the questions because in case we have some use cases that we need to review, we would prefer, of course, to contact you after this workshop and to arrange a proper meeting to discuss your use cases and requirements.
Okay, so no more questions at the moment. If anyone wants to ask a question, please mention it now. If you don't mention it now, we are going to be within a few moments opening our Discuss forum, which will be able to be used for continuing this discussion. And we really would like you to continue this discussion. Put in your use cases, your suggestions. We'll be on the forum as well and participate in the discussion as well. If you have any specific ideas or questions to each other as well, then being an open forum, if you want to share your own expertise in using automation with PractiTest, or you have questions about how you can implement it for yourselves, then being a community, we'd like to encourage people to share their own ideas, and we'll moderate and participate in it as well.
Exactly. If we are getting back to the original initial purpose of these workshop series, so we wanted not only to talk about topics that customers would like to listen to, but also the second purpose is to build the PractiTest community of users. So we will publish the forum topic, forum post about this workshop, and then you will be able to participate in it. And then, of course, you will be able to connect to other PractiTest users and to share your feedback, how you manage to configure something between PractiTest and any other automation tools, any other third-party tool. And then other users will be able to use your solution and also to suggest their solution to you. It's also very important purpose here to make PractiTest, to build PractiTest community among our users and of course among our potential customers.
Okay, thank you everyone for participating. If you haven't had your questions answered, then we will attempt to answer you personally or else in the discussion forum as well after over the next day or so.
Thank you guys. Thank you for participating in our workshop. And of course, please expect the next one. Yeah.
We'll be posting in the coming days, we'll be posting details of what we're going to be doing next as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.